What's the chance that's a game? Look at this. Look at this. Okay, welcome back to another video. I I ain't seen y'all. I've been doing like voiceovers, but anyway, I am here. But I pose a question to you. Why is it always the people who are overqualified that can never close on the deal? So I have three examples here today because we've been talking about value and how value adds to your personal brand and how value adds to your business to be able to, like I said, close on the deal, be able to have engaging customers or fans or supporters, what have you, right? So recently I've been going through a lot because I've been struggling with having my own brand, being my own celebrity, and establishing parasocial relationships and still dealing with trauma. And recently, I have a real bad thing. I had an ex where I gave so much of myself because for some reason I placed his value so above myself. I didn't have a lot of confidence. I didn't have a lot of love for myself, and I'm still working on those things to wholeheartedly love myself with everything, every piece and being, and all those cosmos, all those things, with every fiber in my body to give the love that I was giving others back to myself. And I find that now that I give that love to myself and I prioritize myself, certain people who I used to know, somebody used to know I didn't mean to cut you off. Yes, I did. So I had to understand what my value was and what I was bringing to the relationship and why they will always keep me around, but I could never feel like I was the actual person for them. And that could have been romantically or that could have been platonic. It was always, I always felt like the second option. So back to this parasocial relationship, I know my value as a person. I know what I bring to the table. I know who I'm trying to become. As a person, as a celebrity, in my opinion, in my world, in the world that I'm trying to create and build, as most artists do, artists, influencers, what have you. Um, and the song that I've been listening to that's been a theme for this the whole time is Manicure by Lady Gaga. If you have never heard, Manicure, it's literally she's literally saying you want a cure from men. And see, my struggle is I'm bisexual, or I would even say pansexual, because I'm attracted to trans women, attracted to trans men, I'm attracted to women, I'm attracted to men, you know. Um, yeah, it just is what it is. And sometimes, especially where I am in my life right now, financially, I'm not where I'm supposed to be to date someone of the opposite sex. You get what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate to say that, and I'm not saying all men are like this, don't get me wrong, but sometimes men are easier to have, relations, have sex, without feelings attached and without it being too much money involved, because men are men are hunters. You get what I'm saying? And they gotta get what they got going on. But sex is something that was never really important to me. So what I value was love, connection, intimacy. And sometimes intimacy leads to sex. And, I just felt like that was something that I was doing for my partner. You get what I'm saying? And it's very hard to have a homosexual relationship, or at least in my experience, I haven't had one yet, where sex is not the focus of the relationship. You get what I'm saying? And with women, in my opinion, I hope this is not disrespectful, but they value connection, intimacy, stability, a foundation. And those are things that I'm still working on right now for myself, to build a foundation to be able to bring that to someone else. So whoever, along the way of my journey, if I want to date, you get what I'm saying? Because I'm just not in that space right now to where I want to date anyone. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just not ready, and I can't literally take a financial loss, trying to date somebody and trying to live up to the standard or how they see themselves. You get what I'm saying? Because they have a value of them own selves. You get what I'm saying? And you have a value of yourself. You get what I'm saying? So you don't want to get in a relationship with somebody and you're lowering their value or you're lowering your own value. You get what I'm saying? Because you both have to be equally yoked. And that takes me back to my previous relationship. I was somewhere that was trying to, grow. I was trying to graduate college. I was trying to do so much of my life, maintain my scholarship, maintain my grades so I wouldn't flunk out. And this person, and maybe this is me still playing victim, because I kept going back. I kept going back. I didn't see the value within myself. I didn't see that I was going to be degreed and see that I had love in my own heart and I could survive off my own love. The love started from the inside, but I was out there searching for outside love, which decreased my value. Okay, let's move on to the next point. Value at work. You get what I'm saying? All of this tunes into who you think you are, who you see yourself as, who other people really. You don't have to be really worried about who other people see you as. If you know who you are on the inside, know what you represent, know what you bring to the table, and once you put out content, your business, your website, what have you, whatever you're creating, okay, as a creator, once you put it out, that's interpretation of who you are. But as long as you know what your value is and what your company, business, informational, all those things, if you know what you offering to the table, right? So that brings me to my previous job, right? When I was working in security, and I wanted to move up so much in the company, and I thought, okay, well, maybe this is something that's for me. This is my career path. I done spent 2-3 years in this field. It's time for me to be a supervisor, right? And the opportunity came to where my supervisor at my old job got fired, and I was next in line. They were doing a whole bunch of interviews, and they were coming across saying, okay, the candidate has to be degreed. They have to have some years in the field. Just I met the criteria. Okay, that's why I'm saying I'm over. How am I overqualified? But I still can't close on the deal. Right? I'm degreed. I've been in this field for 2 years. You get what I'm saying? I built rapport with y'all. I've been loyal, and as I'm sitting here in this office and you're sitting here telling me, yeah, you're going to be the interim supervisor, but we're not going to give you a title. We're not going to give you a pay raise, or for the time that you're serving as supervisor, we're not going to give you no incentive. And for a while, I was taking that. I was like, okay, well, at least I don't have to do the work of a regular employee. I can be a supervisor, sit at a desk and just supervise. You know what I'm saying? And because I didn't understand that the microaggressions and everything that was going on in the environment, I didn't understand that somewhat being in leadership was taking the breather off my back. And that's not the truth, because I was still being blamed for things that didn't happen, that didn't have anything to do with me, right? And I was doing extra work, wasn't getting paid for it. Doing extra work, wasn't getting a title. And I learned same thing in the last relationship I was in. You doing all that wifey shit knowing he don't fuck with you. Shout out to JT, right? So I had to learn and set boundaries and say, hey, I'm worth more than this. I didn't put 2 years into this. I know what I'm doing. I know I deserve this title. I know what I bring to the table. So just because you know your value, I want to also let you know everyone is not going to see your value at first. It's going to take a bunch of people to just say, "Oh, I know Shamar. I know Shamar. He did this for me. I know Shamar. He did this for me. I know Shamar. He's good on this. I know Shamar. He works on his word. He stands on his word. He never breaks a promise." So when I realized, oh, I don't even really want to be doing this. You get what I'm saying? I want to be a celebrity. 100%. I am a celebrity. Now I am on a journey of creating that path for myself. And once I realized that, and that I wasn't getting paid for doing all the extra work, I had started to say, this is not worth it. Like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't care who you put in this position. If you value them over me, somebody else need to be doing this for the right amount of check. You get what I'm saying? With the title. So when I started saying about all that kind of stuff, and I start having something about myself, respecting myself, understanding my value, they fired me because I wouldn't put up with that anymore. Once somebody know that you know your value and they can't manipulate you anymore. Same thing with that last relationship, and they can't brainwash you and have you doing whatever they want to do. They gonna flop. They gonna let you go. But you know your value, and somebody else knows your value, and they knew your value when they seen you. They knew it before you. So that's another reason why it's so important to know your value. Number 3, why is it important to see the value in yourself? And I kind of just went over this and said this and kind of tied it all up together. But it's so important to know the value within yourself, because somebody else is going to know the value in you. When people see you, whatever you putting out, all your business, not personal, but your business, your content, your story, what have you, they know, okay? They know this person is special. This person has a gift. This person is good at this. This person is good at that. This person's good at sales. This person is good at networking, But if you never see that within yourself, then you're going to continuously be ran over, manipulated, used. You get what I'm saying? That's why it's so important to know your value. And when you selling to your prospects or hiring for your business, and you're trying to weed them out from who's just trying to use me or who's really trying to help build my company, you need to understand your value, number 1, your principles, your boundaries, and then you need to be starting to court them for their values. And if they deserve to be in your life, that can be work, that can be friends, that can be parasocial relationships, that can be anything that involves your energy or someone being in your environment. Because they can, listen, a house that's been on the market for the first year is not the same price as a house that's been on the market for 10. Okay? Because as soon as that house goes on the market, it's depreciating in value. That's why it's very important to know what you're worth, to know your value. Because as I explained in these first 3 examples, in a relationship, I didn't know my value. At that job, I didn't know my value. But now I do. I see my influence. It was always an influence. And the reason why they allowed me at that job to even be supervisor is because they seen the potential in me. They knew I could do the job. They're not going to put somebody up there that's irresponsible. That person who I was dating, they weren't going to keep dating somebody who they didn't like or didn't have some type of attraction to, or knew that I was going to become something bigger. They knew. They know. And it's time that you know your value. You are more valuable than you know. And when you realize that, you will always come out on the other side. And even if you take an L, you'll know how to pick yourself back up, because you'll know your value. And I just want to leave this tidbit for the end before I go. I just want to say, for all those people out here who are making business moves, having documentation of all their things, this is what I'm trying to say. Have documentation of all your work. I've been making videos for so long, and it's time that I really put my videos back in other places besides, YouTube, just so I can have them, in case, one day I could license them, to a company or whoever wants to use them, or if I want to repurpose them for, a class or a live stream or what have you, whatever I want to use it for. But my point is, if you're a content creator, influencer, business owner, save your documents, save your videos, save your content, put it in a Google Drive, put it in a Microsoft Office or Google Storage or Apple iCloud, somewhere where that is tangible, that you can go back and get it, because you never know the value. Well, you do know the value, but the value can change. You never know, the market changes whenever. Your work is your work, and it deserves to be shared. So save your videos, your websites, your ideas, put them somewhere safe where you can revisit them and reuse them, because it can work for you. And once you know your value, you'll always win. All right, Shemtastic Gang, I hope that message really did something for you. I hope that you could relate in some type of way for that man, that woman, what have you. I see you all later.